Thank you. So, quickly, the European Cybercrime Training Education Group is a group which is delivering for free training packages, not trainings, but training package exclusively to law enforcement agencies, international and national ones, in EU and beyond, because we have an agreement with the Council of Europe to reach other countries. When I was invited to take part at this seminar, I was a bit surprised, because what can be the link between law enforcement and the digital single market? And if you search a bit, you will quickly find the main problem, and it's your problem, not mine, is that everybody here, including the private companies who are making a lot of money, and I don't have something to reproach to the money-making companies, because it's the key concept, selling cybersecurity solutions. But the problem that I have is that most of the time they try to hide the fact that cybersecurity is impossible if you don't handle the criminals. So my experience is most based on the criminal side. I was working 30 years as police officers, last 20 years to protect computer critical infrastructures. And now I'm full-time lecturer at the Norwegian Police University College. And all the time, we try to not train, but educate the colleagues in order to support the efforts of the industry and the efforts from the governments in terms of cybersecurity by providing solutions to fight the criminals, because you never will have a 100% bulletproof cybersecurity solution, because they make the choice of when they will attack you, you don't know it. They will make the choice of how they will attack you, because they decide and they will find your vulnerabilities, the ones that you probably discover and not yet patched, and the other ones that you are not aware about it. And most important, they will make the choice of why they attack you. And sometimes that's the main problem when we are coming on the crisis meeting after the attack, is that the victim side don't realize why didn't attack us? What are I searching? Why did I store this database or this file only? And sometimes there's a lot of things to handle at this moment, because if you don't understand why you are victim, then you cannot apply the solution. And moreover, you will be unable to deploy the communication to the public. And communication is really a part of the crisis management. So, ACTEC exists since 13 years, made by volunteers from law enforcement initially, and then last year we moved to create officially, following the Belgium legal system, it takes a lot of paperwork, an international non-profit organization, and then we structure it again. So it's a fresh new, we call it the ACTEC 2.0. So in the General Assembly you will find the Group P, so mainly law enforcement unit, law enforcement unit or law enforcement training center academies. Of course, we have Europol as member, CPOL, which is the European College Police. Interpol is member, but never attend the meetings. That's and Eurojust is member, and is one of the major components. Because Eurojust represent the end users. The end users are, of course, the citizens that we have to protect, the industry that we have to protect, but in front of the court, that's the magistrate, and during the investigation, that's the prosecutor. So all what we are doing needs to answer to the needs of those actors. We have a second group, which are the universities. So we have 2 UK universities, we have a Spanish one, Belgium ones, and so on, and some high schools. We are starting to accept high schools since the new organization. The concept is that we need to think about the training package that we are creating, not only with the input and the experience from the field, from the law enforcement, we have to include the vision from the academy and especially from the research and development. So that's why we are trying to produce things quite close enough to the reality of not only what's existing now, but what will come, and detect the new tendencies in the evolution of the crime, cybercrime especially. And then we have the authors, and the authors are the international organizations, so OSCE, others are trying to apply a center of excellence, and the industry. In the past, Microsoft was part of the former organization. In the new one, they still have to apply for membership. And everything is done in a way that when we are going to vote, the voting gave better rights to the law enforcement. Because in the past, some universities are coming with really good ideas about new trainings to develop, but not really something useful for the police officer on the field, especially a specialized one or common one. So it means that in the new structure, the law enforcement decide what we will pay for, because we have to fill the gaps and based on identified needs. How do we do to pay everything? Mainly we have a big funding from DG Home for the EU Commission. We are in monopoly funding for the 2 coming years with a lot of interesting tasks. So if you go to the website, you will see, we started mainly with forensics. And we now deploy things about cybercrime. So there is a new plan for a training, which is a 3 weeks training about a skilled police officer to react against cyber attacks in cooperation with partners, CERTs, governmental cybersecurity agencies, and of course the victim, because the victim company has sometimes things to input into the investigation. So the 3 last courses were the most popular ones, and especially malware analysis was something which is very demanded. So all law enforcement organizations around the world may apply. They get the package, virtual machines, trainer manuals, students manual, and so on for free. The only problem is they still have to find the trainers. That's the problem. If you look to the landscape now, on the side of the law enforcement, the cooperation with the industry is working quite well. And that's the problem. It's working a bit too good, because the industry is trying to do everything. So just to come back in the ECTEC members, we don't accept consultancy or advisory companies. We want only to accept industry coming to give the knowledge. If they want to give money, they are welcome, but give knowledge, share the knowledge to waste the competencies into law enforcement. So that's the challenge, but the main challenge now that we are facing off is that the fact that most of the knowledge is on the side of the industry and not on the side of the law enforcement. So if you look to Europol, Interpol, they are working with the industry on a way that at some point the industry have all the leadership of all the investigations, which is not in respect with the rule of law and makes me afraid. What will happen if we have to investigate to one of such industry? And if you look to the investigation against a big company, a large company, conducted by the commission, for instance, about, that's investigation needs to be done independently. That's the rule of law, and citizens work in systems that the magistrates are fully independent. They need tools, and including human tools, to make investigation fully independently. So that's why I'm really proud to present, and one of the things that I fight is about the fact that everything not only having some hardware or softwares, but that we need skilled people, and skilled people working for the governmental agencies, like police officers, or for the CERTs, for the army, and so on. And that's why we identified this problem, and in collaboration with the partners, CEPOL, Europol, Eurojust, and ECTEC, developed a new strategy 2 years ago. And this strategy starts from forgetting the way that the people are trained based on the trainings, but starting with the fact that we need some profiles. The slide is a bit difficult to read, but the concept is that for each profile, and it's very upper level definitions because we want that it is considered by the law enforcement in the EU members countries as a tool that they can deploy on their own legal and national level on a way that they can use it. If we are going too much into details, too deep into details, it will be a problem. Thank you. So what we did is putting that and defining skill and competencies. And based on those skill and competencies, then the people will be able to, based on identified gaps, to follow trainings in order to protect his digital single market, among other activities, because forensics are quite important. So we add that. It's a living process. So we add new competencies. For instance, you spoke about Internet of Things. Last year, a crime case was solved in France by investigating a fridge. So if at some point seizing a fridge is still possible to investigate it, Internet of Things include no garage doors or parking doors. How do you seize a garage door? Yeah, you can seize the house or the building or the hotel, but that's probably not the most efficient way to handle it. Anyway, it has to be investigated in order to solve the crime and to solve the case. So that's the approach, and I will end with this slide. So all the police officers now and Forensic Institute are moving to certification, and the first panel spoke about certification a lot. It costs a lot for all the, especially forensics domain, like fingerprints, DNAs, and so on. And we come on the point that if it costs a lot for the digital investigation and for cybercrime fighting, it's impossible to certify the tools. It's impossible to certify the labs, because if you do it 6 months afterwards, you have to recertify again. So we are starting from a point that we are basing us on the good practices, which is something that you can more easily keeping alive and updated constantly, and focusing on a project that we start in September, which is a 2-year project about certification of the practitioners. So they will be able to produce in front of court conclusion and to make hypotheses and to make good investigation in a way that is considered as a tool for the digital single market. And that's here that I will finish my short presentation about something which is a bit unusual.